Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a great Chuseok holiday. I want to thank everybody for joining the Women's Leadership Committee meeting today. Today we have really a fantastic turnout. And as we all know, I think one of the major concerns from COVID-19 pandemic is a notion that there's actually increasing gender inequality. The pandemic is further illustrating the gaps that men and women have experienced. Therefore, I think that it is now more important than ever for companies to strengthen their diversity and inclusion policies. I think we know that studies have shown that gender diverse companies perform a lot better. I think we all know that. However, gender equality and lack of inclusiveness in the workplace continues to be of critical issues. And I think we're finding that more prevalent in the tech industry. Today, we have leaders from two very large global companies, GM Korea and HP Printing. They're going to provide insights on their company's diversity and inclusion policies. They're also going to share both challenges and opportunities faced by women in technology. I hope that all of you can get a lot of learning from these outstanding leaders. For me, today's webinar is quite special, since one of the speakers is from GM, where I served as a CEO, a few years back. I can tell you from my personal experience that GM and its entire leadership takes the D&I policies very, very seriously. This is very serious stuff that GM undertakes. And I am sure that HP Printing has similar passion as well. So the two speakers we have is Myongok Yoon. She is the managing director of GM Korea and is also the co-chair of Diversity Council for GM Korea, a very, very important council for the company. Next, we have Soohee Park, the R&D director of HP Printing. Soohee is also the Korea leader for HP's partnership with the Society of Women in Engineering. I also want to thank the co-chairs of AMCHAM Women's Leadership Committee for their continued leadership. They've done an amazing job in helping our member companies with the navigation of this very important and timely topic. So before I hand it over to Christina Ahn, the managing partner of Morgan Phillips, I want to thank Christina and Morgan Phillips for partnering with AMCHAM on a joint survey to study D&I. I think it was a very well done survey, and I think that a lot of you have seen it, received some great press coverage as well. So I'm very thankful that under the leadership of Christina and Morgan Phillips, AMCHAM can really partner effectively with a very professional firm. So without further ado, let me hand it over to Christina Ahn, the co-chair of the Women's Leadership Committee. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Well, thank you for that, James. I'm Christina Ahn, and I'm one of the 4 co-chairs of the AMCHAM Women's Leadership Committee. And it really has been a great pleasure to plan for this webinar with 2 amazing women leaders from iconic American companies. Before I go on to introduce the first speaker, which James has already done, I just wanted to share some quick statistics with you. In the US, recent research reveals that women make up only 19% of entry-level and mid-level roles in the tech industry. And then at the senior levels, it drops to about 16%. And as you can imagine, the number drops even lower, with women holding just about 10% of executive level positions in the tech industry. I hope that today's session, very interactive webinar, will help broaden our perspective and help us learn about what leading companies are doing to close this gender gap. Just some housekeeping items. We have allocated about 10 to 15 minutes towards the end of the webinar for Q&A. If you have any questions, please reserve them until the end, but you can feel free to upload your questions by clicking the Q&A button on the bottom of your Zoom screen. The raise hand function will be disabled. Now I'll hand it over to Ms. Myongok Yoon. She is the Managing Director of GM Korea and GM Technical Center, Korea Communications, and also a member of the Executive Committee of GM. Okay, so Myongok, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Hello, everyone. First, I would like to thank James Kim and Women's Leadership Committee of AMCHAM for hosting this wonderful webinar today. I'm Myongok Yoon, and I'm really thank you for having me and giving me this wonderful opportunity to talk about women in technology, which is very, very important topic for our entire universe. Why is that? That's what I would like to talk about today. First, let me start with my story. When I was a child, I had a dream like many of you probably did. When I was 10 years old, I read the story of Marie Curie, and I was so inspired by her life, being such a courageous woman, inventing something remarkable in the entire history of science, making huge impact on our lives. So I made up my mind like, okay, I'm going to become one of the most prominent female scientists in the world, like Marie Curie. I think 10-year-old girl at the time was fascinated by the fact that scientists can make our world a better place. But unfortunately, the reality was that I was not smart enough to be good at the math and science. And soon I realized that I have other talents in other areas. So I changed the path for my major in college. However, it didn't mean that I gave up my dream, because my dream was not just becoming the scientist, but more about doing something to make a positive impact on our lives and our world. Even though I'm not a scientist, I am now surrounded by amazing engineers who are working so hard to bring innovative technologies that can make our planet healthier and safer. And luckily, I'm privileged to have talent in telling the compelling stories as a communicator. And I'm now telling wonderful stories of our engineers to support them and help them succeed and reach their fullest potential. I believe that's how I get closer to my dream, and that's why I am here today. So I would like to talk about why scientists and engineers matter for a second. As you all know, we are now living in a planet which is facing very, very difficult challenges to deal with. Global warming and climate change are threatening our sustainable future very seriously. And we have more aged groups than ever, which makes affordable and accessible healthcare as a big priority for many of the countries. And we still have extreme poverty in some part of the world, which we should not ignore. So how can we address this kind of complex and difficult challenges and issues? Yes, we need creative solutions, we need innovative technologies, and we need more capable scientists and engineers who can drive innovation and make things happen for the better world. Now, talking about innovation, I don't think anyone can argue that creativity and innovations are driven by diverse experience and diverse perspective from diverse people, right? And I have a simple fact that we all need to be reminded. In this planet, as we all know well, we have half male and half female. And engineers and scientists all around the world are working very hard for the entire population, not for the certain population. But as James already mentioned and Christina already mentioned, according to many of research, only 20% in both US and Korea, and maybe less than 20% in most of other countries of STEM workforce are female, which means only 20% of technology work can represent 50% of population with just a simple math. And even worse, in terms of the important decision-making process in the organization like companies, when they decide what areas to invest more or less, this representation of female goes far below than 20%. So if you look at the chart here, only 10%, as Christina said, of management position in technology are female in Korea. This chart shows that the more senior level, the less women in technology. And clearly, this is the area we all need to pay attention and focus on how to address this issue. Starting from 32% when they graduated from university, and from there, it goes down to 10%. Where are the other 20% women in technology? Where are they now? Certainly, we will be losing the opportunity to have more capable engineers if we continue this gender gap in retaining STEM workforce. If we think about our customers who are supposed to enjoy the technology and products, the problem becomes much clearer. Because if we think about customer as just an individual, they are all different and unique. And that's why we need diverse group of people in many aspects, including gender, especially in technology area, which is impacting a lot on people's lives. Now, let's talk about the other side, which is my favorite side, which is opportunity. If we look ahead, there are certainly opportunities for us. Taking an example of automotive industry that I belong to, the industry now is in transformation journey towards electrification, autonomous technology, and connectivity technologies, enabling mobility solutions to go beyond our imagination. And who is driving this technology evolution? Yes, engineers. As we all know, automotive industry has been quite male dominant so far, as it was mainly driven by internal combustion engine and big hardware structure, which is regarded as masculine stuff. But this is not anymore, it should be. Digital and software technologies are driving the whole transformation of the industry. And we need more diverse software engineers who can bring creativity, innovation, and agility to the technologies. Among all diverse areas, the gender diversity is the one we can start very quickly. That's why we need more women engineers in this area. And this is certainly a big opportunity for us to bring more women in technology in this industry-wide transformation journey. So now it is clear that we should drive diverse culture with the diverse STEM talents in our respective organizations. But the reality looks far away from the place where we should be, as I shared with you in the previous chart. So here I have questions for you. Why do you think we have less women engineers working for amazing technology can make our world better? What challenges and difficulties that they have in your organization and why? And how can we address this issue all together? So from now, we will have some fun. we will have a more interactive session with you to keep you engaged. You will see the screen now. You can answer the questions, and we will have this live poll session, and also we will take a look at the results from our collective answers. Okay, let's get started. So first question, why do you think we have less women engineers? Please choose 2 answers. Maybe lack of graduated major STEM and challenges in work and life balance, or biased view on female engineers, or less capable female talents in technology. Okay, choose 2. Okay, if you are ready, second question. What hinders female engineers from growing further? Also choose 2 answers. Maybe lack of role models and lack of networking, maybe lack of confidence, and maybe lack of support from the leadership. Maybe all, but just choose 2, the most relevant or most resonate to you. Okay, if you did, I can move to the last question. Last question is, how can we address this challenge together? Again, choose 2 answers. Maybe building women networks to support, or mandating female quotas in hiring and promoting, or driving diversity, equity, and inclusion culture, or legislating policies impacting the career journey for females, like raising children or parenthood leave. Okay? If you've done all this already, please submit. Okay. Thank you for your active participation. While we gather these results, I would like to share with you the real voices from Women in Engineering Group in General Motors Technical Center, Korea. Let's listen from them what they had as real challenges and how they think we should do to address those challenges.
I never knew what I wanted to do when I was young.
When I started as an engineer, it was an extremely rare case.
In the very beginning, I feel like very intimidating. I found with the work, it's like very heavy male dominating, the people that I work with.
I look back when I started as a team leader in my team. I was the youngest and the only female in team.
I sometimes had a feeling similar to a monkey in the zoo because of the staring, whether I was doing well.
Many people were worried that she can do. She had not got married yet, and what if she got married and quit the job suddenly?
My willingness of self-development and the personality of be bold drove me to continue with my career, and it made me who I am today.
What I tried to overcome, building my trust with my colleagues and being bold and sharing my thoughts without any fear is very also helpful.
I have to present as a role model for other female engineers and support their growth. It's my biggest challenge right now.
I wish I had a good female role model who already passed a similar way to me, and I always wish I could have someone who really understands my situation.
I want to help people with asymmetric gait to talk properly and encouraging more women not only to enter into engineering, but to stay in engineering.
Okay, let's see now the results of the labor poll. and see how you think about the challenge against women in technology. Okay, first one, why do you think we have less women engineers? It seems like two are second and third answers are the biggest. The challenge in work and life balance is, pretty much the reason, and biased view on female engineers, stereotype career paths for men is also key challenges. Okay, second question, what hinders female engineers from growing further? Yes, lack of role model, as our engineers, women engineers already talked in the video, right? So third one, how can we address this challenge together? Yes, the building women networks to support. Yeah, this is the one that I wanted to have as an answer. So thank you for your active participation. I think there is a lot to, take away from this survey and the voices from our employees and our engineers in GM, in General Motors. So, as we all agree, we need to something to support women in technology, not for the favoritism for women, but for opportunities we have in this universe by embracing the diversity in STEM to create more inclusive world where everybody can enjoy their technology and no one left behind. So how can we support women in technology better? As you already answered, there should be many aspects as we agreed upon. Among them, I'm going to talk about the power of networking among women in technologies. This is a Soohee, Society of Women Engineers, and this is the world's largest advocate and catalyst for change for women in technology. And surprisingly, it is now celebrating 70 years anniversary, which means lots of women in technology have been benefited from this organization already. So now, what does Soohee do and why? Soohee has 4 strategic goals: professional excellence for women in technology and for their career goals, and globalization which enables broader networks for Soohee members. And third, advocacy towards more women in engineering. And lastly, the diversity and inclusion, which is fundamental value that Soohee is pursuing. So with these strategic goals, Soohee is helping women in technology get together and support each other, inspire them to succeed, which is exactly what we need in Korea to help our women engineers. In terms of the global network of Soohee, they have already 42,000 members joined Soohee in 62 countries in the world. And close to 100 industry-leading corporates like General Motors are partnering with Soohee because they all believe the power of diversity and inclusion for their sustainable success for the business. In Korea, General Motors established the first affiliate of Soohee in Incheon about a year ago now. This is a global organization, and we wanted to have women in engineers and technologists in Korea to join this organization as well to support each other. Before I introduce Soohee Incheon affiliate, I would like to introduce Christina Ahn, Vice President of Sustainable Workplace and Chief Sustainability Officer of General Motors. And also she is a Soohee representative in GM. So she is based in US, so we pre-recorded her message to all of you why Soohee is important for us.
Hi, I'm Christina Ahn, GM's Vice President of Sustainable Workplaces and Chief Sustainability Officer. It is great to see such amazing leaders coming together to share and learn from each other. Organizations like this that bring experts from various companies together to share best practices are so important. I'm so proud of the growth and strength of the GM Korea Society of Women Engineers team. The support and encouragement that you are providing to the female engineers at GM Korea is so valuable. There is so much power in women coming together. It is more than just building your network. Learn from each other. Share stories and things that are going well, and maybe even more importantly, things that are not going well. Find those other women that you can turn to for advice, mentoring, or just to bounce ideas off of. Having a support network is so important for each of your individual success. In these unique times, learning how each company is driving diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, and working together to create opportunities for today's women, and more importantly, to continue to foster an environment that grows and encourages the next generation of aspiring technical women leaders is critical to our future. I hope you have a great conference and come away with new learnings, opportunities, and inspiration.
Thank you, Christine. So I would like to talk about now what we are doing in Korea with the Soohee. Soohee Incheon affiliate created a unique mission, which is representing the value of Soohee. Support your growth, work together, and embrace others. With this mission, Soohee Incheon has been actively expanding the networks in Korea. This is the 2021 Soohee Incheon calendar. And as you can see, this team has been forming and designing activities around career growth, networking, and outreach programs. Actually, no one has taught us what we have to do. And this is purely the outcome of Soohee members' voluntary leadership, which I found as an incredible journey. Today's session is also part of the Soohee outreach and networking event. And this is the visualization of the journey that Soohee Incheon has been taking. From the moment we kicked off this organization last year, we have been growing with lots of various programs with meaningful milestones. What I'm so proud of is our members of Soohee were bold enough to take action by forming the organization and designing the activities that can foster the growth of Soohee members to support each other. We identify the challenges of women engineers, which many times, as we heard, our female engineers are feeling isolated in male-dominant organizations. And Soohee stood up, embracing everyone so that they can feel valued and have a seat on the table without being isolated. This is the power of networking in the group like Soohee. Among all the amazing milestones we have been making, I would pick one simple outcome with one word, which is confidence in ourselves. We get confident what we can do all together to make our world more inclusive, and we are now so confident our efforts will pay off with greater technologies for this planet. This was clearly not the journey of favoritism nor reverse discrimination, which we often hear from others who don't understand what we are doing and why we are doing. I would like to make it very clear to all of you. This is about helping each other grow and reach to our fullest potential. Now, I have another guest speaker who will reinforce this message for us. We have Brian McMurray, Vice President of Engineering Group of GM International Organization, and he was the one proposed us establishing the Soohee affiliate in Korea when he got on board in Korea team. He is a big sponsor and advocate of Soohee Incheon right now. We asked him about why he is so committed to Soohee, and let's listen from Brian's story.
Well, good morning to all those participating and attending this AMCHAM event. My name is Brian McMurray. I'm the Head of Engineering and Operations here for General Motors for GMIO. I was asked a simple question. Brian, why are you such a supporter of Soohee, Society of Women Engineers? It comes down to three values that I hold very close to me. The first one is make sure that we respect everyone's differences without judging them. Number two, give a level playing field. Give everyone an equal opportunity. And third, and probably the most important, make people feel valued, because people that feel valued will do more for you. Those three things are really what's driving me to encourage everyone to get behind Soohee. We have groups that really need their voice to be escalated and elevated. We all have women in our organisations and we want them to succeed, because it's not for us about great women and great men, it's about great employees. So having an organisation such as Soohee and getting behind and encouraging both men and women to be part of Soohee will actually help you and your organisations and give them a voice to make sure that we're treating everyone equally and making them feel valued. So I encourage you and urge you all to get behind Soohee and encourage people to join. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. So what Brian said is not only Brian's personal belief, but also General Motors' value. As James mentioned, we are very serious about this inclusion. Our chairman and CEO, Mary Barra, as the first female CEO in automotive industry, declared that our aspiration is to become the most inclusive company in the world. And in General Motors, inclusion is a fundamental cultural value that everyone should live with. We respect everyone is different and unique, and we try hard to make sure everyone feels respected and valued as they are. I'm so proud of being part of this company because I believe I get better person every day with living diversity, equity, and inclusion as a core value of my mindset and behaviors, whatever I do. In General Motors Korea, we have also formed Diversity Council as one integrated employee resource group to drive diversity, equity, and inclusion across the entire organization from all different levels with about 12,000 employees. This is another organization together with Soohee driving the culture change in DE&I in General Motors Korea. As you can see the headline of the article, featuring our Diversity Council a while ago, we are addressing the challenges in our culture which hinders diversity in gender, generation, and class, etc. And I think this is common challenges in Korea society. So I'm sure what we are doing here will have implication for other companies and other organizations in Korea as well. We have set the goal and roadmap for Diversity Council with a mission to become the most inclusive company in Korea. And again, we are not doing this for ourselves in General Motors, but doing this for entire community in Korea, hoping this will have positive impact on other companies and organizations. The theme of this year is Listen to Embrace, and we are conducting empathy interview for many of our employees to understand each one's uniqueness, and at the same time to identify common challenges and opportunities in DE&I. Still a long way to go to get there where we want to be, but I have confidence we can make it happen, as I strongly believe this is the right thing to do for all of us. Together with Soohee and Diversity Council is catalyst for culture change in GM Korea. Coming back to Soohee, this is the status of Soohee AMCHAM membership so far. If you are not a member of Soohee yet, you may want to consider being part of this exciting journey with us. This is the last page. Sorry it took a long. I'm sure you are all excited to join us in this journey now. Remember, we are making our world better having more women in technology for our future. No matter you are male or female, no matter your occupation is in technology or not, you can have a role to play here if you want. The fact that we have a much greater number of supporters for Soohee means a lot to us. It means that we are holding ourselves accountable for our future with super powerful technologies. And it is impacting not only for our lives, but also for the lives of our children and our grandchildren and our grandchildren. Believe me, this should be fun, rewarding, and fascinating experience for all of us. With that, I'm closing the presentation today. Thank you for listening. Now I will hand over back to you, Christina.
Yes. Thank you so much for this very engaging and uplifting message, Myongok. I'd like to now introduce Ms. Soohee Park. She's the R&D Director of HP Printing Korea and leads the product integration team at HP Printing. She also serves as the site lead in diversity, equity, and inclusion to champion HP values and culture in Korea. So for the sake of time, I'll hand it over to Soohee now.
Thank you, Christina. I'm so honored to be here, and thank you so much, everyone, for your undivided attention until now. My name is Soohee Park, working for Printing Korea, HP Printing Korea. I'm the last speaker for today's session. Again, a great pleasure to be here with you all today. As the first woman leader in R&D at HP Printing Korea, I would like to speak about how HP's diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives help to foster an environment to empower women engineers, which will encourage the next generation female leaders in technology. I hope this can be something more than just a best practice and initiatives that will inspire us and bring opportunities to have a more conversation with the companies experiencing similar challenges. In 1939, HP was one of the first Silicon Valley startups that opened their business at a small garage in Palo Alto. HP's mission is to create technology that makes life better for everyone, everywhere. In order to engineer such amazing experience through our product and services, diversity, equity, and inclusion has been one of the most important aspects of HP's startup spirit. And as you know, it has been embedded our business strategy and imperatives here at HP. Today, HP is doing business in nearly 180 countries with 50,000 employees, 36% of them being women. On top of that, HP has been named as the #1 company amongst the America's most responsible companies by the Newsweek Choice. In this regard, by 2030, HP aspires to become the world's most sustainable and just technology company. We, HP, have also announced our 2030 Sustainable Impact Vision for climate action, digital equity, and human rights. As for our human rights agenda, HP's commitments aim to drive gender and racial equality while enabling a powerful culture of inclusion and belonging. We seek to empower workers and partners around the globe. Today, 31% of HP leaders are women, which is over the average of this industry. Additionally, 22% of the employees in the tech and engineering fields of HP are women. Due to this, HP is committed to achieving a 50-50 gender equality ratio throughout its leadership as HP 2030 human rights goal. It would be the first Fortune 100 tech company to commit to gender parity in directors and above. Also, HP hopes to have over 30% female employees for tech and engineering by 2030. On the flip side, the statistics shown in Korea are not the same level. According to the report from WISIT, Women in Science, Engineering, Technology, the number of women in this field account for 20%. Essentially, women take only 1 out of 10 managerial seats in science, engineering, and technology field in Korea. One noticeable data point is that 60% of women in engineering technology and 51% for women in science have their career gaps, which is a stark contrast from their male counterparts. Furthermore, as we can see in the graph on the right-hand side, the environment of economic activities drastically drops from 62% to 37% for women in their 40s. I believe it is due to the work-life balance challenges for working moms in Korea. Let's see the case of HP Printing Korea. HP completed the acquisition of Samsung Printing Solution business and launched HP Printing Korea in November 2017. As a strategic hub for the contractor printing business for HP worldwide, almost 12% of the employees are women, and the portion of a female manager is only 6.8%. While more than 700 employees are working in the tech and engineering field, 8.7% of them are women. This is only 1/3 of HP Global and less than a half of the statistics in Korea. As a woman leader in technology, with experience as a typical Korean mega company and M&A process, there was 2 challenges I had. One was that I didn't have a role model of female leader in HP Printing Korea. And the other was the lack of network opportunities. I think the environment where we can meet female leaders and have chances to learn from them should be provided for women. It will ensure their career development without having gap primarily in their 30s and 40s. As one of the minority groups, women need the supportive partnership in terms of career development to not feel excluded or left behind, especially for the tech and engineering fields that are often male dominant and highly competitive. It is because we can bring our whole selves to the work when we feel included through the broader networks and support system. For the actions that move the needle, HP Printing Korea's main focus is to grow women leadership and their talent development. It is to increase the number of women in technology and to encourage the greater business collaboration for their growth and development. Ultimately, it will foster and strengthen the women leadership. This in mind, the Site Council leadership team stepped up and made a difference in culture transformation, which is belonging and inclusion through diversity, equity, and inclusion workstream. Furthermore, in terms of hiring, HR sets the 50-50 gender equality in internship hiring as a goal, and built the partnership with the local women's universities for its recruitment. Since then, it has been implemented with the mentoring program for young female talents and their developments. Above all, the most important catalysts are WIN, Women Impact Network, led and operated voluntarily by female engineer employees in HP, and HP3, Society of Women in Engineering, program for female talent development in technology. WIN is one of HP's employee resource group promoting women networks from local to global with a mission statement to foster future women leaders through learning and growing together. Communication, education, leadership, and networking pillars have been taking initiatives to hold activities for the growth of respective areas. For instance, Winning Talk for women leadership, Win Cafe to have a conversation regarding challenges at work and home, and year-end Win Festival to celebrate and encourage all WIN members for their accomplishment. Moreover, WIN has been actively participating in the coding program and the Makers program for local elementary school to support digital equality action. Currently, over 50% of HP Printing Korea female employees are with WIN, along with some male allies to support our work. In addition to WIN, HP has the HP3 partnership as a robust ecosystem for women in tech. HP has been a SWE CPC Corporate Partnership Council members for 3 years and joining as speakers to annual conferences and continuing regular networking among members. Today, HP3 Korea has nearly 40 memberships since last year. On top of that, HP developed a specialized women leadership program for female talent and technology, which supports group mentoring and 1-year sponsoring opportunity for their career advancement. Last but not least, HP WIJAC Global Mentoring Program is the project HP Printing Korea is collaborating with the Korea Foundation for Women in Science, Engineering, and Technology. It is to increase the number of female employees of STEM fields in Korea. It is a 6-month mentoring program supported by the representative women engineers from hardware, firmware, software, mechanics, and material technologies fields in HP Printing Korea R&D team. They mentor their areas of expertise to female university students. Mentees, as a group of women students who have various questions and curiosities for their future, can learn from the female experts sharing the same major about which career paths they went through and what kind of jobs they have experienced. Besides, it is attractive for the mentees because they are allowed to experience a global corporate culture through this program. No wonder why the competition to enter this program is so high. In particular, the students in mechanics and material tech areas with relatively few female in numbers can receive support and deciding their career direction by experiencing the various technology HP Printing Korea. You may be wondering what this mentoring program journey looks like. Along with the ongoing regular mentor-mentee meetings, we offer mentee sessions for learning how to utilize LinkedIn for their career management and broader networking. Also, English resume writing and mock interview sessions prepare them to find a job. The most favorite session for all mentees would be the site tour. The original plan was to visit HP Printing Korea site at Pangyo, exploring the laboratories and offices. However, due to the current pandemic, the site tour was replaced with the virtual reality video clips and a session introducing HP products and technologies. Other interesting activities include job shadowing, where a mentee follows her mentor through her daily job routines. But unfortunately, it was also replaced with the meet and greet with the young employees and managers. And mentees were allowed to join a couple of brown bag sessions regarding artificial intelligence and machine learning for HP Printing Korea employees, so they could experience the HP's lifelong learning culture. This time, I would like to share the testimonial from one of our mentee students who joined the program this year. She posted it her LinkedIn. I deeply realized again the reason why HP Printing Korea continued this program with passion is to imagine the future of our next generation who has been inspired by this program and continue to lead next of the next generation. Another beauty of this program is that it helps not only the development of young female talents, but our mentors' growth and development to their role expansions and new career journey, such as taking middle manager roles and above. Let me take this opportunity to send my enormous thanks to mentors, program team Haesun and Jihyun, Win, and Wizet. The lessons we learned from the past 4 years with HP Printing Korea's DE&I effort are: first, the need for more role models and success stories of female leaders. Action speaks louder than words. There is nothing better than actually seeing more female leaders empowered and in action. Second, networking is critical for women to feel included. No woman is an island. Every woman is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Women need to actively foster the networking opportunity for growth and try more for themselves. Third, should be continued. In order to do so, the basic cornerstone needed leadership's endorsement and sponsorship, and the partnership among WISA, Soohee, and AMCHAM. I believe this can be a great opportunity to think about what actions AMCHAM and partner companies can put together to extend this robust ecosystem for women leaders. Shall we travel back to 20 years ago? The left is my team photo when I just started to work. I was lucky enough to be in a team with another female engineers, but women were always the minority. The photo on the right shows the new employees of HP Printing Korea R&D team in 2019, 50-50. This is the road ahead of us. You may wonder what motivates me as the only female director, D&I champion, and HP Wisdom Mentoring executive sponsor. I'm fully committed to plant the seeds that will grow to have a positive impact on the next generation of women. Of course, I'm afraid sometimes, but I have to muster the courage to walk toward the door of opportunity and to push myself out of my comfort zone. As the first person to open this door, I want to ensure that I keep it wide open for all the future women leaders. What drives me keep moving forward is to connect, support, and encourage my female colleagues to reach to that door in a faster and easier manner. That brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time and interest today. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Soohee, for this very moving and inspiring presentation. We have about 4 minutes left, and I'd like to get the two speakers back on the screen. Myongok, I have a couple questions from the audience. One, I'll address it to Soohee first. This question is, I'm curious, why did HP use the word human rights on the plan of 50-50 in leadership? It's a very new angle. Can you share a little bit more the context behind this?
Yes, last year, we remember the systemic racial issues in US. Then HP is the really top leaders on working on that movement. And we want to embrace the more diversity and inclusion through that event. So we said human rights. It's not just a gender issue, it's a human rights.
Right, right. That makes a lot of sense. Another question for Myongok. What do you think is the biggest reason that motivates female STEM college students to choose careers in STEM?
As I shared in my presentation, I think to make the world better place, this is a big mission for the engineers and technologists. And women need to have fair shares so that we can have better and more capable engineers and technologists for our world. That's the, I think, the motivation we can have.
And I actually have a question for both of you. Have you seen kind of an upward trend in the technology, kind of women in technology that are applying to join your respective companies?
So yeah, let me start with General Motors case. Surely yes, especially for the new employees and new interns that we are having right now in our technology center. I see more female engineers coming to our company, which is great to see, and this is the way to go. But as I told you, the senior levels engineers and women's professionals are still lack in terms of the gender diversity. So we need to work on it to foster the growth of our current female engineers.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I will be just a quick, as you can see the
Sure.
slide, 50-50 is
Yes.
our goal. And also now I'm getting more the female STEM field students. It is the road ahead of us. Yeah.
Right. That's very, very encouraging. And we have 1 minute left, so I'm going to wrap up, but I'd like to thank both of you for your valuable time. And I believe that you just being on stage like this at a webinar for AMCHAM shows that we do have visible female role models in the industry, and it's very encouraging indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.